Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, and you can tell it's St Patrick's Day. Alan Ruff and Tam McManus are well up for this one. They are going to obviously give us their thoughts on the weekend Scottish Premiership matches, all on the Saturday. The early kick-off, Motherwell against Rangers. We'll get into the meat and bones of that shortly, but let's not forget there's a competition ongoing at the moment.
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend David Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck indeed with that competition. We'll announce the winner of that on Monday. We always like to throw a wee quiz question out for you as well. And this one is in relation to the Motherwell Rangers game. What was the year when Motherwell last defeated Rangers in the top flight league? What was the year when Motherwell last defeated Rangers in the top flight league there at Fir Park? And do you want a couple of clues, guys, just to give you a wee...
I know what it is because...
He told us the answer.
All right.
I knew what it was anyway, because I was out celebrating with the guy that scored the winner.
Okay, right.
In Glasgow that night.
Right, okay. Yes. Well, anyway, if you needed a wee hand, there's always a bit of fun in these things. Daniel Bedingfield was number one with If You're Not the One. Yep. The Cheeky Girls were there with a song called Cheeky Song, Touch My Bum. Just a good one to sing.
Amy Cheeky Girls the other night.
Nice. It's a good one to get singing when you're with your family, I don't think. Also, Eminem, Lose Yourself. The films that were on: Lion King, Chicago, Catch Me If You Can, 2 Weeks Notice, and The Gangs of New York. And of course, Ronaldo, the Brazilian, won the Ballon d'Or, and LinkedIn was founded in this particular year.
I was my pump this year as well, right in my pump.
Were you playing really well?
21 at Hibs, yes, yep. Right in my pump.
Okay then.
I went downhill for there.
So I think you've managed...
When were you born?
Don't bother giving him that. Anyway, if you think you know the answer, fire it out there. It's great to have your company with us. Of course, uncensored, unbiased, unmatched, absolutely free to watch. If you get a chance, don't forget, stream, share and subscribe with your pals. We're absolutely delighted at the people who are subscribing to the channel and, of course, watching all our unique video content, as well as downloading the app to get all the latest breaking football news. So with that in mind, first topic of conversation, which I think is a fairly feisty one that should get everybody incensed, is basically Celtic and Rangers cannot come to an agreement on the allocation for the away fans for the final 2 Old Firm games of the season, which means that there will be no away fans at Celtic Park in April and no away fans at the final fixture at Ibrox. And I think if you look at it, it's an absolute tragedy, Ruffy.
It is a tragedy, and I'm obviously talking from a neutral point of view. I always think both sets of fans bring something to their games. I think it's great watching it. I think it's great listening to all the banter that goes round about it. You know, and it's a tragedy, you know. But the thing about it is both clubs will probably say, we're looking after our own supporters, so we don't really care about anybody else. And that's the way they'll be looking at it. But it's a shame, you know, because, you know, I think that particularly the stand when it's got 7,000 in it brings a lot. And we always talk on here the show about what's the best derbies in the world and which ones gives you the best excitement and that. And I have to say, for me, it just takes it away a wee bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I have to agree with you. I mean, it's a situation where I think the two clubs really need to come out of the dark ages. I mean, it's ludicrous with the 750 fans now, the way they've changed this whole thing. But, you know, I liked it when there was a full end of Rangers and a full end of Celtic fans. It was one of those fixtures that had that atmosphere. Okay, there was a poison element to it that you didn't want, but it was something that people looked into and looked upon as one of the great derbies of the world. It's no longer that. I don't care. I'll just keep saying that. It's no longer that because the two boardrooms are basically just dragging the clubs backwards.
I think it's going to be difficult now to turn it around because I think they've sold season tickets to their own fans. You know, so I don't see the 5, 6, whatever it was, 7,000 away fans coming back. You know, anytime soon. I think you might see the 700 or 800 back, but it's really, really disappointing to see this. I think that when you tune into a game, you know, you like to see a big away support. You know, wherever you go. When I was a player, you know, big away support. Remember Hibs took 7,000 to Ibrox, you know, and we beat Rangers 3-0 in the Scottish Cup. So, listen, you want to see that colour and that atmosphere, and for them to come round the table and, you know, basically say there's no away fans I think is terrible, and I think it's really, really damning on our game here.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your thoughts on it as well. We want to see the biggest match in the country with a good allocation of supporters. It certainly will be for the semi-final anyway, Ruffy.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, half the stadium, you know, one colour, half the other, you know, and it'll be in full flow. And I think it's absolutely. And I'm sure the players on the park would if they were asked them, they would say they'd love, you know, the 50-50 split. You know, it adds something to the game on the park. You know, so no, I think people, when they see the semi-final, they'll realise how much we're getting cheated at.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Paddy says, Peter, it was Rangers who started this. Only one team to blame. Well, Paddy, I have to say, you know, for fear of people rewriting history, it wasn't Rangers who started it. It was Hibernian who started it.
And Rangers started it between Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I just think the whole thing, the whole stupidity of clubs suddenly starting to get to a situation where they were, you know, cutting the allocation of the away supporters at a time when we really want to try and maximise the money that's coming into the game. I mean, people must look at us sometimes and just think it's just a backward country at times.
Yeah, but as I said, you know, the powers that be will be saying like, we're just looking after our own. You know, we're going to give as many Rangers supporters a chance to get into a stadium. And the more the merrier, and that's the way they'll look at it. They'll just look at it from their point of view, and Celtic as well. They'll be just looking at, you know, we're going to get more people in, and it's our supporters, so stuff everybody else.
Yeah, well, if they want to continue in that vein, there's not a lot we can do about it. We can obviously voice our opinion on it. That's exactly what we do on the programme. Whether it changes or not, only time will tell, but it's no longer one of the great derbies when you look at it in a league sense. It certainly will be one that we can look forward to, Tam, I think, in the semi-final anyway.
Yeah, listen, it's a 50-50 split in the semi-final, and you know, it's a great atmosphere. You know, 25,000 fans of each side, and it adds to the spectacle of a cup final. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that in the league games, but as I said, the semi-final should be a great atmosphere, and both sets of fans make the fixture for me, and we're going to get that at Hampden. Yeah,
I like David Canavan's attitude to this. Not a good one for us. And by the way, I can just quantify, when I said it's a tragedy, it's disappointing. Tragedy in a footballing sense, not a tragedy in the whole sense of some of the things that happen in football, but I think it's disappointing, yes. I'll take that in the chin. It's disappointing, yes, for a lot of fans who want to go and savour these games.
As Ruffy said, you know, the clubs are looking after their own fans. You know, if Rangers can sell those tickets to their own supporters in terms of, you know, season tickets, they're going to do it. And Celtic are the same. You know, they left obviously that 700-800 tickets for away support, but now that's been done away with as well. It's really, really disappointing. If you're a neutral, as you said, you're trying to attract sponsors and, you know, get big Sky deals and sponsorship deals, and you come to a game like that and there's no away fans. People will be asking, why is that? And it's not good for us. Okay, maybe that's just the way things are going now. Maybe it's a generational thing. A lot of kids will not be able to sample that sort of game and know that there's away fans there. You can give us your thoughts on it as well. So David says, happy St Patrick's Day. It's a great show, lads, but I need to go for a beer. I'll catch up later on the show, tomorrow possibly, depending on how much drink I'm forced to consume. And I'm looking at the watch, Ruffy, and I'm thinking, David started at 10 past 4.
Where is he?
Ruffy's on the morrow at 4, so you better keep drinking.
Yeah. Is he here? Is he here?
Well, I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's in Britain, but that might be a get out for him, by the way.
Yeah.
As you know, 5
time scale.
5 hours. If he's in America, then okay, we're going to let him away with it. But nevertheless, everything in moderation as far as your drinking is concerned. Although I don't think he'll be viewing that tomorrow when he's on his freebie game.
He is. I mean, we've seen him in full flow. He is a wee bit of a lightweight.
Yeah, absolutely. I only have to look back to Anfield and realise that it wasn't a good idea doing a full-time assessment. David says he's in Spain. Are we allowing him Spain?
Oh yeah, Spain. The sun will be shining. It'll be magnificent. Why not?
Yeah, that's the other thing about it. Yeah, Spain. It would be great if one of us or two of us were going to Spain shortly. Just absolutely fantastic. Love that wee bit of sun on your back, Ruffy. That'd be great.
For me.
Yeah.
May.
Golfing, Mercia.
Golfing.
Yeah, 5 days.
Yeah. Tennis
Yeah.
for me, Ruffy. What about yourself?
Yourself, nothing? All right.
Jazzing it up in Ibiza.
Yeah. yeah. What are you taking a glow stick with you?
Yeah, well, that's funny enough. I had nothing to do with the booking, but it's booked, so I really have to go.
Fantastic.
I don't think I'll be in the hip hop place. I don't think.
No, you're not going to be.
I'll be in there. No.
I just had this vision of you doing a
Kevin and Perry?
a dance dance at a wedding, giving it, you know.
One of the Arnold Clark dues we had in the pub in the Mist.
Oh yeah, that's
Never-
right.
Never again. Don't let me ever go on a dance floor.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, the smoke machine.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, he came out. Honestly, he got lost in the smoke machine, and then came out as if he was Glenn Miller. And tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be. It was absolutely outrageous, but still a great thing to see. So good luck with the competition and the quiz. We'll answer just out of curiosity. We'll give you that at the end. And also, Ross Mayer sent us a message saying, "Hi Peter, I'm tuning in from Azerbaijan. It's a great show. Sad state of affairs now that no away support will be allowed at the last League Old Firm games. It's always better with a sizable away support. It adds to the atmosphere, in my opinion." Ross, I cannot disagree with you. I'm of that vintage where you could. There was nothing better than hearing the away support. I mean, it was painful, but it was nothing better than hearing the away support if there's a goal scored. It was almost a delay of it was a delay of a second time before the noise got to you, and then a second later the pain of realising you were a goal down.
Obviously, I think Celtic have been the dominant team over the last 7, 8, 9 years in terms of home and away. And I can remember the beach balls and all that with Celtic, but I can also remember when Rangers basically clinched 9 in a row and celebrated in front of their fans at Parkhead, 7,000, 8,000 of them. So these are the big moments in the game that you go and celebrate with your away support, and the home support empties, and you can go and celebrate in front of your own fans. So it's really, really disappointing that if an away team wins a fixture, you're basically having to get off the pitch straight away. There's no fans to celebrate with.
Yeah, okay. Let's look to the fixtures this weekend on the Saturday. All of them there. Here's how it all looks for you. Motherwell against Rangers, Aberdeen Hearts, Celtic against Hibs, Dundee United, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone and Livingston against Ross County. And with that in mind, it's been quite a long time since Motherwell actually won a league game at home against Rangers in the top flight. Well, that's the question, you tube. But do we know? We know James McFadden scored the goal. Since then, 54 games, roughly 39 defeats, 15 draws, no wins for Motherwell.
Yeah, it just shows you the quality Rangers and Celtic have got, and Rangers in particular. I think the only bad time Rangers had by that time when the playoff.
Yeah.
I think that's the only bad time that happened for Rangers. But Rangers are too strong. They're too strong for Motherwell.
Yeah.
They've got players in certain bits of the park that will cause them problems. I know they're on a wee run, Motherwell, just now. I know Hearts was a good one. But apart from that, they haven't beaten anybody else of any stature. So I think Rangers will win this one quite easy.
Yeah, funny you should say that, Ruffy, because obviously I was speaking to Stuart Kettlewell yesterday, and I think the Motherwell manager, fairly philosophical about it all. He knows that there are battles elsewhere where Motherwell's destiny will be won and lost.
We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in the fact that we can play in our home patch now, and we can be competitive, and we can make life really difficult for Rangers. So it will be a massive test. I think the players know that themselves, but I can see that there's it's one that whets the appetite. You shouldn't be going in with any apprehension. I've said it long and hard that I think this isn't our fight. As a club like Motherwell, this isn't our fight, but it doesn't mean to say that you don't want to get involved in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But they've got that nice little cushion in the table, Ruffy, where they've got 6 points between themselves and Ross County and Kilmarnock, and then obviously a little bit more, 9 points between themselves and bottom place Dundee United.
Yeah, so they'll be saying to themselves any point as a bonus. The more points they get, obviously, the more difficult it's going to be for Dundee United. I think when you get the split, if you're down there and you're maybe 6, 7 points clear, I would think you're safe, because all you need to do is just win one game. So they'll go out there. As I say, I think they'll give their best shot, but not good. They'll not be good enough to beat Rangers.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Is that cushion enough for them? Could they still be dragged into it? Callum Butcher was speaking yesterday. He reckons there's still a bit of work to do for Motherwell.
Well, we want to finish as high as we can. That's obviously the main aim, but we're not out of the woods yet. We don't see it that way. We want to kick on. We want to get away from that as quickly as possible. But like I said, I think at the moment it's been really positive, and we want to continue that as much as we can, you know, and kick on.
Well, if they are going to cause Rangers any problems, Tam, they've got a goal scorer. Kevin Van Veen scored 17 goals this season.
Yeah, he's been massive for Motherwell. I think if it wasn't for him, I think they'd be in the bottom two. I think when you're in that bottom six, if you've got a guy who can get 15, 20 goals, that is priceless. And he could very well sneak them into the top six. You know, I don't see them going down now. I think they've picked up. I think they've picked up under the new manager, and you know, I can see them maybe, you know, pushing to try and get into that sixth place. But I think they'll cause Rangers problems. But as Ruffy says, I think Rangers have got far too many, you know, weapons in the forward areas to cause Motherwell problems. And Motherwell will go and try and attack. You know, at home you've got to go and have a go, and I think that will suit Rangers.
Raskin, injured, doesn't look as if he's going to make it, just a pain that he's picked up in his thigh. And of course this season, when you're talking about whether there's any evidence that Motherwell could cause a problem or two, it was tight the last time, but Rangers won it 2-1, 3-0 at Ibrox, quite comfortable. And have we done it? Have you put your predictions in?
No, we haven't yet, no.
No, we haven't put our predictions in it. I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers, because I think he's got more than enough in reserve.
Yeah, I think I went for 3-1 earlier as well, so I'm going to go for 3-1 to Rangers as well.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 2-0 Rangers.
Oh, 2-0, okay, playing your gambling game, trying to keep ahead in the predictor. Is that what you're doing, Ruffy?
Well, when you're up there, you know, you just have to get the right decisions, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can always tell when Ruffy's trying to noise everybody up, he starts to whisper. So just in case anybody hears him being aggressive. As far as this team's, and this is the one thing that I think Michael Beale's probably getting used to, is the fact that we all, whether it's here, whether it's on other television shows, radio, in the newspapers, there's always a pundit to comment on the next bit of impending pressure for a Rangers manager and his team. I mean, I think lots of ex-Rangers pundits have been commenting over the last couple of days about, well, if they don't win the semi-final, pressure's on them. If they don't win the game at Celtic Park and at Ibrox, pressure's on them. You know, and there'll be loud cries, angry people, displeased Rangers supporters, and Michael Beale's having to get used to all of that.
Yeah, he has. I think it was all plain sailing for him, wasn't it, until the cup final, and he got heavily criticised for his team that played. You know, a lot of people wanted to see the new signings, the younger signings in the middle of the park. He went with the tried and trusted, and it didn't work. So I think he knows now that second's nowhere in Scotland. You've got to finish first, and Celtic are very, very strong at the minute. They're the dominant force, and he's got to turn that around, or else he's not going to be there, you know, very long. But I think it's a bit early to say he's going to be under pressure. I think he's got an opportunity this summer to build his team and get his team, and you know, I think it's too early to judge him now. In the summer when he signs, I think he'll sign 6, 7, 8 players. Then you look into August and September and October and you go, right, that's a Michael Beale team, and that's the time to judge him. But a lot of Rangers supporters are not happy with the team and the board at the minute, and you know, I think that pressure will increase if he loses any games.
Well, the Rangers manager himself is well aware that he'll start that change towards his team in the summer and try and build a team, he thinks, for the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, I can. I think the big thing is that where do we see the club going moving forward, and who do we want to build around for the next 3 or 4 years? So I need to think when I'm handing these or making these offers, do I feel that I want to build with someone for the next 3 or 4 years? It's a moment where there's a lot of players out of contract, and therefore there's a lot of salaries coming back in if we wasn't to renew with some of them players, which gives the club a lot of options this summer.
Yeah, he will have a lot of options, but boy, I think he'll be hoping there's a higher percentage of success rate than there has been over the last couple of years. And of course, the other thing that's difficult for, I think it's difficult for any Rangers or Celtic manager to think this is a 2, 3 or 4 year plan, because as soon as the other half of the city, you know, depending on which half you support, if one half's successful, the other one usually loses their manager.
Yeah, there's a lot of big decisions to be made. Obviously, at the end of the season, the two things that I've taken up from Beale is he doesn't want to be signing players that are injured all the time, and he's just said it there the now. He wants players that are coming in that are going to be here for 2 or 3 years. So that narrows the field down a wee bit. So whoever's dealing to get these players must be actively working just now and getting a sheet of players out there who they want to bring to the club. That'll be also interest for the Rangers supporters, which ones he thinks come into the category of, I don't want to be you to be here for 2 or 3 years. That's why I think we all think Morelos is in that category. I don't think they'll be wanting him hanging about for another 2 or 3 years the way he is just now. So there'll be other players as well. But it's always good at a club, you know, when you're maybe got to bring 5, 6, 7 players in, because it keeps the fans, you know, eager and waiting to see what kind of players they are.
Yeah.
Peter, I've said it a few times, and Michael Beale touched on it there. You know, he's got a great opportunity in the summer to get a clean slate, to get his own players in. He's got a lot of players out of contract. So say you've got McGregor, Jack, Arfield, Kent, Morelos, say they all leave. That might be 60, 70 grand a week in wages. So he's got an opportunity then to go, right, this is, maybe get him for 15, 20 grand a week, and same again, oh, he maybe 10, and maybe get a big player for 25, 30. So he's got an opportunity there to go and spend that salary, those salaries, and he touched on it there. So I think he's lucky in a way that these guys are not tied down in 4 or 5 year deals where he's got to wheel and deal. He's got a great opportunity with 7 or 8 of them out of contract to move them on and then bring his own players in.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to read out some messages we've got in our feed on YouTube. Don't forget, you can engage with other people who are fans of football, and you can put a point to us as well. We try and get through some of them on our programme. And thank you also to so many people who, across so many platforms, download our podcast. If they can't watch the programme on their phone, on the app, or indeed on YouTube, then they download the podcast and listen to it at their leisure, walking about, getting angry, walking the dog, maybe laughing, and people think, is he the full shilling? But it's changed days now. You know, when you see people walking along with earpods in, Tam, just, you know, laughing, and you know they're listening to a podcast.
Hopefully ours.
Yeah.
If they're laughing. But no, that's what people do now. You know, I do it as well. If I'm going out for a walk or whatever, stick the earphones on and listen to something, a podcast or whatever. And I think it's good for people to go and listen to the show later on.
Yeah, and Gallant says, and this is feedback from last week, Ruffy, I don't know if you remember, he was heading to Edinburgh to a certain restaurant.
He's going to Giuliano's,
yeah, remember we told you. Peter, did I tell you Giuliano's was top drawer last Saturday night? Tops, according to Gallant. He says, I spoke to the great man. He says, Peter, he liked the pasta. Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder if Gregor was allowed to get up on the tables. Only special people are allowed to get up and sing the Drifters on the Tables, Ruffy, when you're absolutely plastered at 4 a.m. in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't
done that
been
yourself?
there. No, I haven't been there. The only time I've been up on tables was at the Beer Fest in Glasgow, Oktoberfest, and 2 of the big Stein things just got the better of me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was up with everybody else.
Did you get up on the table?
Oh, everybody was up on the table.
That's my
When was this, Ruffy?
When was that, Ruffy?
It's Oktoberfest.
About
They
what
had it in
year?
Glasgow.
1939?
Oh, no, about 3. No, it was only about 3 years ago.
Wow.
Everybody's up on the table
Just
at the end.
pre-COVID?
Beerfest. Yeah, it
Yeah.
must have been, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, nobody is not up on the tables.
Right, brilliant. Tam?
No, I've never been up on the table in my life.
What?
No.
You?
No.
Are you kidding? What about all those mad nights out with all the absolute
We were under the
screwballs? Oh, you were under the table.
What's the German football song that they sing at these beer keller things? There's a German song.
I have
one
no
of the
clue.
teams.
Is that right?
Come to me. I'll let you know.
Okay.
It's an up on the table sing song.
All right, okay. What, like Papa, something like that?
Aye, something like that. But they sing it in the German football games.
Okay, well, somebody will tell us. Willie, who doesn't believe we're uncensored, unbiased and unmatched, but I don't mind reading his point of view out. Tam, he says, Tam's Barnet isn't as bad today. It's just a bit too much gel, he says. The wet look doesn't look great and doesn't work with someone in your 40s. So there you are. I love it when people actually just say to you, by the way,
I
you're
get
too
my
old."
Barnet get hammered on Monday, right? Get slaughtered on Monday.
Yes.
I fixed it for Wednesday,
Yep.
and now I've got a haircut today.
Did you get a haircut
I got a
today?
haircut. Look at the sides, it's absolutely into the wood.
Did you just leave the back?
Yeah.
So
time.
I got a skin fade at the sides,
Yes.
and I'm still getting slaughtered.
Yeah, so you have actually. I didn't. It's the top bit. You like that gel bit?
Right, I like that. I like to flick that up.
Willie's just giving you a bit of advice. He's just saying it doesn't
Willie
work for.
should post a photo of his hair.
Well, let's see your Barnet, Willie boy. He's bald as a coot.
Go and say
Since
something.
slaughtering my
Do
Barnet.
you want me to tell you something? Tam's got his square go voice on there, eh? Anyway, Willie, if you get the app, this is the God's honest truth,
Get
Willie.
it in, Willie. Let's see your hair.
Yeah, if you get the app and you
I'll get a
go,
wig.
go into submissions, shut up. If you get into submissions, there is a section where you can actually post a photograph, Willie. Post a photograph, it'll drop into our server and we'll be able to see exactly what you look like. And Niall, who's always a friendly guy, says a brilliant haircut, Tam.
Thanks, Niall.
There you are, Niall. Absolutely. Niall's plastered right now. He's definitely out of his head. Thank you for all the comments. We like a good noise up. Celtic against Hibs. A few injury worries, Ruffy. Moy, Awata, they're out. Maeda, Taylor and Starfelt, they should all be fine. Taylor, as we now know, carrying a little bit of an injury, playing through the pain barrier.
Yeah, but they want to keep him for the big games that are coming up. You know, I think that's the main thing. But certainly, as we've spoke about it in the show on numerous occasions, Celtic have got so big a pool with quality players in there. Anybody that comes in will know. And then people like Turnbull, if they're given a chance, you know, they know they've got to impress. So that's a tough one for Hibs, because anybody that comes in will be wanting to, you know, just show the manager that they should be getting more game time.
Yeah, and when the Japan manager comes out and makes a comment which is basically questioning the standard of the league, it was always a dead cert that Ange Postecoglou was going to hit back.
You know, it's disappointing for them they haven't been selected, but again, that's the nature of international football. It comes down to the national team managers' decisions, and whatever decisions they make in terms of disrespectful. It's one person's opinion. I know. I'm not really sure that we should make too many far-reaching conclusions.
Well, I'm not sure if Ange was playing a guitar midway through that answer there, but nevertheless, I could hear it. So, yeah, who cares? No. I mean, at the end of the day, if the two players get picked eventually, it's Japan's manager's right to think, if I've got strength and depth up front, then I don't need a Kyogo. Fine. I mean, if they don't, that means they're not travelling halfway around the world.
Exactly, and that's good for Celtic with the games that they have coming up. But I mean, it could be the Japan play a certain way, and they don't play with a sort of I don't know, Kyogo is a 9 or a 10. Maybe they play with a big guy up front, and that's the style of play that he likes, So I wouldn't say it's anything against Kyogo, because we've saw what he's like this year. So, as you're right in saying, it's the manager's choice, and he has to live by it. But I'm sure at some stage, both of them will get a shout, because they're terrific players.
Yeah. Okay, from one group of players in Celtic's lineup that maybe not playing international football, to the east of the city, where Hibs, the opposition for Celtic, have Kevin Nisbet not in the Scotland squad. Should he feel slightly miffed, or have we got an out for him because of his injuries?
Yeah, he picked up an injury at the wrong time. He came back from injury. I think he scored 5 and 5 or 6 and 6. He was flying. Come back really, really strong, and unfortunately done his hamstring up at Ross County, and he's just getting himself back into the team, getting himself fit now. So I think it's just at the wrong time for him. He picked up that injury. He'll still be disappointed. He's obviously been in the squad before. He played in the Euros, so he'll be disappointed. But if he can get himself back into the team at Hibs, which I'm sure he will, then I think he'll be in the next squad. But Hibs have got real competition for places now in the forward areas. Eli Johan's obviously banging the goals in. They've got Matthew Hopper, who they signed in loan. They've got Kevin Nisbet. They've got McCurdy. So all of a sudden Hibs are starting to get some players back in the forward areas, and he's got a few options, Lee Johnson, but I think he's only going to pick one of them tomorrow at Celtic. I don't think he's going to pick two to play at Celtic Park.
Yeah. And what do you anticipate from Hibs on this? Because we've already discussed, it's 2010 the last time they managed to get a win there, 2-1 with Galbraith scoring. But as far as, and I think Hibs, like so many other clubs, are starting to look towards psychologists now, because they've been using Don McNaughton, basically trying to put a belief into players to get the right mentality to believe they can win when they're playing the big two.
Yep, I hope it works. I've went through all that before with psychologists.
Did you?
Hibs, yes, we had people in to see us.
Tell us what happens. What happens?
I can't remember the guy's name. Gary Hare.
Right, okay.
I think we got him in at Falkirk as well. The name will come to me anyway.
So it's Gandalf.
He would come in and he would talk to you about what's your fear of playing in this game. What's your fears? And you would open up and tell him what you thought of the game and the opposition and stuff like that, and it was supposed to help you, but I think we get tanked 6-1 after it. So listen, I think he's going to try everything, and you've got to try and get into players' heads. A lot of teams, when they go to Celtic Park, particularly this season, are probably beat before they even go out on the pitch. you know, they're beating the tunnel when they see the opposition, and you've got to try and have that positive outlook, positive mentality. So, no, fair enough for Hibs for trying that, and we'll see if it works tomorrow. But I just cannot see Hibs getting anything out of this game. I think Celtic are far too strong at the minute, and you know, Hibs coming off the back of a real down, to be honest, against Rangers. I think they've got to try and get in, and this is damage limitation for Hibs. I really think Celtic are that strong at the minute that they've got to try and keep it tight for the first 20 to 25 minutes. If Celtic come out, as they always do, and get a couple of early goals, it's going to be a long 90 minutes. So I think that Hibs will play defensively, which is probably against Lee Johnson, the way he wants to play. But if he goes and opens up, you know, and we've seen it in the last game, he tried to have a go at Celtic and get beat 6-1. So I think he's got to try and stay in the game in the first half, and then maybe open that a wee bit in the second half.
Yeah, well, let me turn to a man who has the psychology, has that feeling. Can you? It's a long time ago, Ruffy. I'm just asking you about it. 1971, and I would hazard a guess, and I'm sure I'm not being detrimental towards the current Celtic side, but let's be honest about it, the 1971 Celtic side would probably have spanked this current Celtic side as well. And they came up against you in the League Cup final. What was the mindset, and you know, Partick Thistle going into it against a team that had been in 2 European finals by the time they'd actually met you at Hampden that day?
Yeah, I think it's the theory. You go into the game, you're no favourites, you're not under pressure, you're not expected to win, you go out more relaxed, and on the day things just clicked. And I think we've all been in games where, you know, things just happen. You know, you don't expect a team to win, but on any given day, if you get 4 shots at goal and 4 of them hit the back of the net, you know, you've always got a chance. And I think a lot of games, remember the Wimbledon team who had no chance, you know, but
against Liverpool.
But on the day, they got it, and there'll be hundreds of games that you've thought the favourites are going to win. But on any given day, if things go right for you, and you've always got a chance. But the 4-1 was, I don't think anybody expected that at all. I think the boy in grandstand, I can't remember his name, was it Frank Clough or
Frank Boff?
Frank Boff read out the score. Partick Thistle 4, Celtic 1. We'll give you the correction of that score later on in a couple of minutes.
Yeah? Is that right? Although I have to say, I don't know what Hoggy says. Peter's talking this Celtic team down again. Hoggy, I'm just saying to you, the 1971 side would have battered this current Celtic side. Paul Lambert's in the papers this morning saying the 2003 side that reached the UEFA Cup final would batter the Celtic side.
I would agree with that, and I played against that team and with Martin O'Neill, and that was a fantastic team. Sutton, Larson, you know, Hartson, you know, Lambert, Lennon, Petrov, you know, brilliant team. I think they would, and the overall standard of the other teams was a lot bit higher than it is now, you know, including Rangers. So I think the 2003 team would beat this team, because I don't think this team's getting tested anywhere near as much as that 2003
and that team
did.
You're talking about, that Celtic 2003 team, I would say every one of them were playing international football at a top level.
Yeah.
Whether it was with Belgium or whoever, you know, they were all top rated players.
Maybe not a Gat, but he was a £50,000 steal of the century, wasn't he?
Just Valharan, you're right, Belgium.
Yeah.
Johan Mjällby, Sweden.
Yep.
Larson.
Yeah, can I ask you this, Ruffy? Would the 1971 Celtic side defeat this current side?
No, the team that played us. Not the team that played us, because
they just buy their best, you think?
He dropped a couple. He dropped Billy McNeil.
Yeah.
Or maybe Billy was injured. You had a young Kenny in there.
Yeah. You had a young Kenny Dalglish.
Yeah, a young Kenny Dalglish.
Right.
No, he was only young at the time.
Yeah.
I was only 19.
Yeah.
Russell Hanks is the best one.
Kenny would have been 19 as well.
Yeah. And you don't think that team would have... George Connolly?
Yeah, no.
I'm just asking you, Ruffy.
No,
Any chance?
I think the 2003 team was better than that team that played us in 71.
Yeah. Okay. I'm now going to go over that side, Ruffy, and check and see if you're right or whether I think you're wrong. But
okay.
I'm just going. You know what it's like. You've always got to. Here it is, and there's the team coming up now, Ruffy. Evan Williams, Davy Hay, Tommy Gemmell, 2 goals in 2 European Cup finals, Bobby Murdoch, George Connolly, Jim Brogan, Jimmy Johnson, Ken Dalglish, Harry Hood, Tommy Callahan, Lou Macari. I rest my case. Yeah. Have a long hard look at yourself, Ruffy.
Well, they weren't good that day.
Absolutely. Anyway, and Hoggy says, Peter, the fitness would be the difference. Yeah, because most of that team are about 72 now, so there would have been a bit of a difference.
I wasn't back then, but obviously, Ruffy, you played back then, and what was the main differences between the 70s and 80s to now? Do you think there was a big gap in fitness and athleticism, pace,
fitness, miles, diet, everything,
technical ability?
No, technical ability. Wee Jinky and that in there, and Bobby Murdoch and players like that. They were.
But the teams now physically run over the top of them.
Faster, much faster.
Yeah, I think. It's a great pub argument, isn't it? But I like Bartholomew's argument on this. He says it'd be some Joe between Maeda and Agat. I mean, you're talking about fitness.
Well, Didier Agat came into Hibs, didn't he? And I was probably one of, if not the fastest players at the club at the time. And Didier came in trial, and there was groups of 100-metre sprints, right? So you had the goalies in the last group who were all slow. Then you had centre halves, maybe midfield, and then you had the whippets. So it ended up me and Didier were in the same group, and Alec McLeish was the manager, and he kept saying, "Oh, he's coming to take your place, wee man," and all that, because he was a striker. And I was determined, and he says, "Right, man, one off 100-metre race, you against Didier," and the two went head, toe to toe, and about the last 10 metres, he just edged away from me.
Yeah.
And I ended up being sick in a bush about 2 minutes later because I'd gave everything. And Alec McLeish came out there and picked me up and said, "Well done, me man." I'd sick of wearing me.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
So there's a story for you. Me against Didier, but Didier was rapid. He was one of the worst trainers I ever seen. He was horrible in training. Horrible.
But I have to say,
a bigger pitch, different player.
It's a great one. Maeda against Agat.
I think Didier would beat him.
Yeah? You think so?
Aye.
Yeah, interesting. Great argument. I think Celtic will win 3-0. Ruffy?
2-0 Celtic.
3-1.
3-1. Okay, I go for the Hibbies. I'll tell you.
For Hibs, something to celebrate when I'm in.
Yep.
In the Celtic end.
Aberdeen against Hearts, and Aberdeen against Hearts. This could be the last. Is this the last chance of the battle for third for Aberdeen?
Yeah, I think so. But I think they're getting Hearts at the right time. I don't think Hearts are as good as what they were maybe a couple of months ago. Obviously Shankland might be back, which might make a difference. But I think Aberdeen, he's got them on a reasonable run. They're at home. I think the supporters will be coming back in their numbers. Home advantage. Don't go in one each.
Yeah, you built that up absolutely fantastically there, Ruffy.
It's coming.
Again, you're looking at the Aberdeen side. I mean, it was nice of Scott Brown to suggest that Barry Robson should get the nod for it. Yeah, absolutely. That's what you do with your pals. Show them a bit of loyalty. I must admit, though, the longer it goes on, he'll feel hard done by if he doesn't get it.
Yeah, all he can do is keep winning games, and he puts himself in the picture for getting the job. This is a big game. Hearts coming into town. It's a real opportunity for Aberdeen to get closer to them in third place. And I fancy Aberdeen in this game. I think they've shown a bit of grit and a bit of determination under Barry Robson, and I think they've got some quality players in the forward areas. I don't think Hearts are great away from home, so I'm going to go for Aberdeen to nick this 2-1.
Yeah?
Yes.
As far as the Hearts are concerned, should Lawrence Shankland feel just a wee bit hard done by? 21 goals, 37 games, not in the Scotland squad?
I think he's got a little bit more grievance than Nisbet, just purely because he's been fit and he's been playing most weeks. So yeah, he scored a lot of goals. Scored a lot of goals in Europe as well. I think that's disappointing for him. Again, I don't think he's ever going to pick Shankland and Nisbet in the same squad. I think both of them are very similar players. So I think it's one or the other, and unfortunately both of them are out the squad this time. But as we know, there's always call-offs. People pull out, and I definitely think that one of them will get in. They eventually get in the final squad.
How do you see this one going, Tam? Because this is a Hearts side coming off the back of 2 defeats to Celtic.
Yeah, no, as I said, I do. I'd fancy Aberdeen. I don't think Hearts are great away from home. I seen them against Motherwell not long ago, and I thought they were really poor. I think Aberdeen at home, bit between their teeth. Barry Robson, he seems to have instilled a bit of grit and a bit of determination. Bar the Celtic game away from home, which was a very difficult game, obviously. Most of the other games have been in it and they've played well. Beat Dundee United, beat Livingston. So, No, I'd fancy Aberdeen to win this 2-1.
Yeah, 3 wins, 5 draws, and 6 defeats away from home.
It's not a great record.
It's not great, so I'm going to go 1-1, Ruffy. Did you go 1-1?
1-1, yeah.
Yeah.
2-1 Aberdeen.
2-1 to Aberdeen. Okay. It's all about opinions. You'll get them on the programme. You can give us your thoughts on it as well. Livingston against Ross County is an absolute cracker because, quite simply, Livingston will want to start pushing back up the way. They're not on a great run at the moment against a Ross County side that suddenly, as I look at that table, will be wondering to themselves, could this be the weekend where they maybe try and put a little bit of daylight between themselves and Killie? And of course, it would be absolutely huge if Malky Mackay could start engineering wins against teams around them. Well, the other thing about this, and we've mentioned ad nauseum on this programme, is quite simply there's usually 7 or 8 clubs trying to avoid getting dragged down into relegation, such as the nature of the league. Neil Doncaster will look at it and say, hey, it's proving to be unbelievably competitive at the bottom and the middle and the top, so it works. David Martindale doesn't think so.
I think sometimes as a manager it becomes a little bit mundane playing the same team 4 or 5 times. I'm going to be honest, I think it does. To the players, can you see that? I think it does. So by increasing it, does it lead to a more competitive Premier League? Yes.
He's totally right. You know, and obviously I played in the league for a number of years. You're playing teams 4 times a season. You're playing, sometimes you get them in a cup, maybe get them twice in a cup. You know, you're playing the same team 6 times in a season. I think it becomes boring not only for spectators, but it becomes boring for players as well. You know, playing against the same guys every week. You know, and I think of a bigger league, you're going to different stadiums. You know, playing against different players. I think it freshens the whole thing up. But the clubs that are in there now don't want to give up that money. Those 3, maybe 4 games against Celtic Rangers, the clubs are heavily reliant on that. It keeps them afloat. Some of them, Livingston, probably one of the main ones. So I don't see it getting changed any time soon in terms of a bigger division. But I think for the health, for the overall health of Scottish football, it's something that we've got to do. Yeah,
well, if Livingston can get a win over Ross County, they certainly will be fancying themselves to push up into the top half. I don't think they're in any danger of relegation or being in a playoff, Ruffy, despite the fact that they haven't had a win in 5, 4 defeats and a draw.
No, but they're always liable to get a win against somebody, you know, and a couple of wins will take them away from the pressure. I think Ross County have just got to keep battling away. We know how hard it is to get points up at Ross County, so they'll hope they can come down and maybe get a draw out of this one, because every point at this moment in time is vital. And I think it'll be a tight affair, and I think I've went for 1 each.
Yeah, well, Livingston and then Ross County have got Celtic, then they've got St Johnstone, then they've got Aberdeen, and then they've got Hearts. It's a tough run before they get to the split as well.
Yeah, as Ruffy said, you know, it's vital they start to pick up points away from home, because they're always difficult to beat up in Dingwall. Livingston are in a poor run of form. I think it's a difficult game to call actually, but I think I'm going to go Livingston just to nick it, purely because of the pitch, and I think they need a result. You know, and they've had a few bad results. I think they'll nick it 2-1.
I'm going to go 3-1 Livy.
I'm going to go 1 each.
Okay. Dundee United
every game?
Yeah, absolutely. You're
it's just only 2 games.
Yeah, let them fire in there, baby, because this is their chance to come right back at them. Dundee United against St Mirren. We sent our man Adam Binney out there to find out what Stephen Robinson thought of this game.
Thanks, Peter. I'm at the St Mirren training ground this morning to speak to Stephen Robinson and Mark O'Hara ahead of the Buddies' trip to Dundee to face Dundee United at Tannadice tomorrow. But the big news is that Mark O'Hara, the club's vice-captain, has signed a new deal that will keep him at the club until the summer of 2026. It's a 2-year extension on his current contract. When there were some interested suitors in O'Hara's signature in January, with Stephen Robinson obviously delighted to keep his man at the club.
There was interest, yeah. There was agents calling, there was clubs watching, and I just think it shows Mark's commitment to the club. He is literally the ideal player to work with as a manager. Never gives you any hassle, gets on with things, playing any kind of position. He's a manager's dream, to be honest with you. So he thoroughly deserves it. He's been fantastic for me this season, as have the other 3 boys that we mentioned on contracts.
We also had the opportunity to speak to the man himself, Mark O'Hara, who admitted he was surprised to get the offer this early.
I was surprised when the manager pulled me in a couple of weeks ago. Obviously I still had a year in my contract, but no, I was absolutely delighted and keen as possible to get it done so quick. It's ever since I've stepped through the door here, I've loved every minute, and it really does just feel at home.
You like him, Ruffy?
Yeah, I liked him at Motherwell as well. I thought he was super. I think he's had a great season. Again, he's chipping in with his fair share of goals, which is good. And no, he's been great. I think the club are maybe covering themselves. He's saying that there's agents and suitors off on it. You want to get them on a 2-year contract, at least you're going to get some money out of it.
Yeah, what are you going for in this one?
I'm going Dundee United, I think.
Yeah?
I'm thinking Dundee United are going to turn it just a wee bit. That draw that they got there will give them a wee bit of self-belief. So yeah, I'm going to go Dundee United 2-1.
Yeah, interesting stuff though, because they're going to have to battle, and going to have to start battling now. Games are running out. Jim Goodwin reckons that he's seen signs that the team are ready to fight for it.
I mean, look, it is a challenge. People, as I said, during one of my first press conferences prior to Aberdeen, thought I was off my head to enter into this kind of situation. But I've never shied away from a battle in my life, and I enjoy the challenge, I suppose, of trying to turn this around. Okay,
are they turning it around for you?
I think that point against Livingston last midweek could be the turning point for Dundee United. Going 1-0 down away from home midweek at Livingston, easy for them to curl up and die and get beat. They came back strongly in the second half, they got a point, so I think that shows they're going to fight for the manager, fight for the fans. I'd fancy Dundee United strongly here. I think St Mirren are poor away from home. I think that this is the game. If you're Dundee United and you're in that dressing room, you're sitting looking and you're speaking to other players and you're going, we need to win this game today, boys. We need to win this game. It's massive to try and close the gap, and I think they will. I think they win it 2-1.
I've got 1-0 Dundee United. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's just going to be nail-biting for the United fans, whether they can pull it off or not. And in contrast to that, down at that bottom end, Derek McInnes is well aware that they've got to try equally, like Dundee United and many others, show some fighting qualities when they come up against St Johnstone. 10 games to save their season and try and put that Inverness Cup exit to the back of their mind. But for St Johnstone, Ruffy, if they were to win that match, that would be 10 points between them and any of the teams that you would consider in real danger. That's a good gap.
Yeah, that will be the objective for St Johnstone. I'm sure the manager will be telling them that this is a big one. I think that remains to be seen the reaction in the game. I think if St Johnstone were to score first in this one, I don't think the Kilmarnock supporters will be too happy with it. We get knocked out with Inverness, so it's a pressure game for Kilmarnock. Yeah, they've been okay at home, but they haven't been running over the top of teams at home. They've been winning, so I think this is a really, really tight one. Really tight, and I'm going to go 1 each.
1 each in this one as well. Okay, Tam?
Every game he's went 1 each. He's an absolute disgrace of a human being.
This is the weekend.
Honestly, he's such a
this is the weekend where I think he just falls out of the top end.
I just got to say it, just 1 each and just hopes that we get something. There's not even any thought or whatever.
No.
Yeah.
Shocking. Anyway,
I don't think you need
I'm
to
going to go for 1 each as well.
You're not on the Saturday programme. I mean, you've just got to give him a chance. This is a big chance for Ruffy to prove his worth.
It is, Ruffy. I'm going to be tuning in live for Celtic Park. I am.
You're not going to be doing anything at 5 o'clock.
See, to be honest with you, see when you tune in on the app for the show, it's 2 hours and you can watch it on the app. Remember, even at this level with your hand, you'll not be able to see that phone.
I think 4 o'clock. Full time. I could tune in at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
Under a different name. Slaughter Ruffy. Just say, Tam, bring back Tam and all that. Ruffy's rubbish. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
We're about to find out. Kilmarnock against St Johnstone.
1-0 Kilmarnock for me.
Yeah, I'm
1 each. I'm going.
What? 1 each? Okay, I'm going to go 2-1 St Johnstone. There's the one where I might actually lose some points. Ruffy, lower leagues, Arbroath take on Morton. The big one for you, Partick Thistle, Dundee, and Queen's Park against Inverness. Suddenly things are getting really tight up there.
They are, and tomorrow is a perfect example of what's been happening in this league. You win a game, you get into the dressing room, you try and look at the other scores, and the placings will be up and down all over the place. But Queen's Park are in the driving seat. They've got the home games. It'll be a massive game. Partick tomorrow. I think there'll be about 5, maybe 5.5 there.
Yeah.
There'll be a tremendous atmosphere. Covers have been on the park since Monday, so there's no any problem with the weather. So Partick have already beaten Dundee up there, but I think Dundee were poor that time, and I would expect them to be a wee bit better. But it's going to be massive. It's a challenge to get up, and I think this year more than anything is an easier year with none of the big teams there. But I mean, Queen's Park are out there, and quite rightly so.
Yeah, Tam?
Yeah, I think it's an absolutely massive game for both. I think it's a crucial game for Dundee. I think that Queen's Park will beat Inverness at home. And Dundee, if you're looking at it, they'll be thinking to themselves, we could go 5, 6, 7 points behind here. And Queen's Park have got another home game against Arbroath coming up. So it's a huge game. Partick Thistle win it. You know, they're still in and about trying to win the league. But I think that's probably the game of the day for me. That Partick Thistle Dundee game, it's a huge game for both.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Dundee to win 3-1.
Yeah. Brilliant. He's anything for a noise. He's just throwing left hooks, Ruffy.
Yeah, an ulterior motive, but
yeah, absolutely. Listen, join us if you can. 4 o'clock till 6 tomorrow on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Ruffy will be with me, and we will basically have half-time reports. Yeah, big shoes to fill, of course. But Ruffy has got a lot more patter. He's been writing a lot of his own material now and adding.
Remember, you've got to come in. You've got to have the league tables and form guide. I do all my research and have it all sitting in front of me. You've got to do that as well.
Oh, is it in the head?
Yeah.
Fantastic, there you are. Honestly, tomorrow should be an eye-opener, believe me. And of course, remember the other thing about it is Ruffy and I used to do a Saturday show on a regular basis, and if somebody phones Ruffy and gives him bad news, he sobs uncontrollably on the show live. That's the type of thing that has happened on previous occasions.
Never forget it.
Yep, absolutely. I miss that dog. Anyway, let's oh dear, that's bad. Let's look at that quarter final of the Champions League draw, Ruffy, because it's painful for some clubs. But
what's a cracker?
It is an absolute belter because I think Graham Potter has actually mentioned to some of the Chelsea fans that he says, you know, we're going to win the Champions League. Well, they're going to have to get past Real Madrid. It's Benfica against Inter. It's Manchester City against Bayern Munich, and it's Milan against Napoli. Ruffy.
Chelsea are not winning that.
No,
I can't see that. Their league form is poor, but they have got quality players on their side. But they're coming up against the favourites, so it's a tough one.
I'd say it's a tough draw for Man City. I think that's the one team they didn't. I think Bayern are second favourites to win it. I think that's a hard draw, and it's a great draw for Napoli. I fancy Napoli strongly to beat Milan, so they could find themselves in the semi-finals. So I think it's wide open there. I think if you're a Chelsea on paper are capable of causing Real Madrid problems, but I think if I'm looking at the four, I'd go Real, Benfica, Man City and Napoli.
Well, honestly, I cannot believe you said that. I mean, look at the draw itself. Ruffy, Tam has gone exactly with the four that I've picked. I think Real, Benfica, Man City and Napoli. What about you?
I'm going Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Man City and AC Milan.
I'm going AC Milan. They're about 30 points ahead of them in the league. Why are you going AC Milan?
AC Milan to you know Inzaghi's not playing anymore.
What? Pedigree in there.
Yeah.
There you go, Saki's not the manager.
Napoli have done well in the league. There's no doubt about that.
Then they're going to bottle it in the Champions League.
Big ones.
Yeah.
This is when the big noise.
You know Van Bassen's got an ankle injury. You're aware of that, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's wait and see.
Yeah.
And what are the semi-finals? Who plays? You're saying the semi-finals been thrown away. Who plays who?
Yeah.
Well, the two English teams play each other. I listened to the radio come in there, so it would be Chelsea, Man City.
If they win.
Yep.
So
Real Madrid, Man City. Semi.
And Benfica
Napoli. It opens up for Napoli. It opens up for Napoli, by the way. It hates.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll wait and we'll see, Ruffy, to be perfectly honest with you. And also... no, he's out. Napoli, the best team this year, says Drodger. I think it's going to be fantastic.
You recommended on this show to back them a wee while ago.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
10-1.
Tam says Man City will get pumped. Well, listen, that's the joy of it all. It's Bayern, Man City versus Chelsea, Real Madrid. Thanks for that, Hugh. I knew it was 2 against 4, but well done to Hugh as well. But let's see how it all pans out. What about the Europa League? It was an absolutely unbelievable night last night because I watched the Arsenal game, Ruffy. I mean, for God's sake, honestly.
What's the goalie doing?
Hey?
What's the goalie doing?
Tom. See, be honest with you, what's the goalie doing, Tom?
It wasn't even into the 18-yard line when the boy had the shot.
It's a great goal, isn't it?
He's finished now.
He's got to go back. He's about 6'5".
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did the back pedal quick enough.
Yeah, he's got to move his feet back. He's 6'5".
Yeah.
That's a bad game.
Tom Bagay never get lobbed.
Bad goal. No.
Yeah. I can't remember you ever getting lobbed, Ruffy. No chance.
What?
No.
Eh?
Andy Ritchie lobbed you about 4 times, you know?
Oh, that was a curling swerve.
Just out of curiosity, I have to say, no, and to be fair, I have to say, how are you judging the Adair Brazilian guy, the 4th one?
Oh no, that was a chip.
That's a chip.
That was a chip, but that was fantastic. That was unbelievable.
So you didn't backpedal quick enough?
Oh, honestly.
Didn't move your
I was
feet?
there.
See, to be honest with you, I mean,
Spring like a bus couch?
see for anybody who's of a younger age who maybe wonders what we're talking about, if you put in 1982 World Cup, Scotland against
78.
Brazil,
Oh, 82.
82. I'll keep you right. Have you met Tam?
82.
So 1982. The Brazilian team were fantastic, but he always used to say to me, in the 10 years that I've been working with him, goalkeeper should never be beaten at his near post,
you don't
right?
guard your near post.
So what happens is Ruffy goes to the right hand side. I can see this as I watch it again, not as a kid this time when he said that. I watched it, Tam, and there's Ruffy guarding his near post, and there's Adair, the Brazilian, and he just looks at him and he goes,
Over the far side.
over the far side.
I
What
wouldn't
a
have
goal!
got it either. I wouldn't have got it.
No?
You know, where would
Could you have moved your feet and backpedaled?
No, not at all. You know, because I was making sure I wasn't getting beat on. It's carnage when you
Diving boots on.
That's the first thing people go, you beat
Aye.
your post.
Even if a boy smashes
How did
it.
you beat there?
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I like Matt's attitude to that, because there are a lot of people who think football never started until 1990. Some people think it never started until 1992 in the English Premier League. But to be perfectly honest with you, it's great looking back in those games and those goals. Did we do the Europa League draw? Have we done that yet?
No,
We haven't.
I've not done it yet.
Here it is. It's Juventus against Sporting, Feyenoord Roma, Man United Seville, and Bayer Leverkusen against USG. Can United win this, Ruffy?
Of course they can.
Yeah. Will they win it?
No, because I'm going for Roma.
No, I'm going to give you, you're going to go into the Conference League as well. I'm going to give you a double, Man United and West Ham. I think both nailed on double to win both
West
tournaments.
Ham would be great, wouldn't it, for
West
David? Yeah.
There's not a lot of great teams in that, maybe Fiorentina.
Yeah, okay.
Villarreal get put out there. I think West Ham are got to be favourites.
Okay, the English Premier League, let me tell you, it's Nottingham Forest, Newcastle tonight. It's Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Brentford, Leicester, Southampton against Tottenham, Wolves, Leeds, Chelsea, Everton. There's FA Cup as well, Man City, Burnley, Arsenal, Crystal Palace. Obviously Crystal Palace have sacked Vieira. Roy Hodgson until the end of the season. He's 75.
Is he in?
75
No,
years of
he
age. No, I think they're talking about it now to confirm it. He's 75.
Just sit beside his phone in the house.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Sheffield United versus Blackburn Rovers, Brighton against Grimsby, and Man United Fulham. So absolutely magnificent. Listen, please forgive me for this, but you know, sometimes I'm a little bit of a sentimental person, and I like to mention some people that we've had on the show that we. I think we miss them a lot, and I think when we had Frank McGarvey on more than a few occasions in the 10 years, Ruffy, he was absolutely top drawer, really funny. And we had him on not that long ago, and sadly, you know, I think maybe 4 or 5 weeks later, he had sadly passed away. Today would have been Frank McGarvey's 67th birthday, and I think there's a lot of people that miss Frank. So
yeah, that hits home for me because it was my dad's 67th birthday last week. And we played against each other and we're growing up as kids, so it's no age really, 67, still young.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, still thoughts with all his family. There's, you know, the great family, and a lot of people miss him dearly. Okay, what about the competition? Still time?
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend Davy Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. The answer to the quiz, of course, the last time that Motherwell defeated Rangers at home in the league, it was a long time ago. The year was 2002. Well done to that. I'll leave you with this thought, and it's Stephen McCulloch who's just put a message up. He says, guess who had 10 grand on the Gold Cup winner? I'm galloping all the way to the bookies right now. Stephen, if you could call us immediately, we're available to hang about with you tonight and up until 4 o'clock.
I know Sandelsey backed it as well.
Did you back it?
Nope.
Ruffy?
That's how it goes.
He'd do your head in, wouldn't he?
He's so lucky, so jolly.
By the way, he hasn't even mentioned the money or anything on it. Brilliant. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the football chat. Don't forget to subscribe if you can. Join the football family. There's some fantastic content coming out next week that I know you're going to enjoy. Lots of unique video content that we're making for you, including the football show. Hopefully you're enjoying our chat and our pundits, our one-to-ones. If you hit the subscribe button there, you'll be able to watch it all. If you download the PLZ Soccer app, you'll be able to get all the breaking football news at your fingertips. Have a great weekend. Tam's not with me tomorrow. The Roughmeister is with me at 4 o'clock on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Join us if you can. Our reporters will be out at all the Scottish Premiership games. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
Slaughter Ruffy tomorrow.